What now? That's our theme. But to get to now, let's first take a little journey back. Will you go with me? Let's go back in our minds on this journey to when we were about this tall. Can you get there? Remember when we were that age and adults would lean down and they would attempt to get at our eye level? What questions would they ask us? They'd say things like, "And what's your name? And how old are you? And what grade are you in?" But rest assured, those questions they were asking you, they were all just prep work. They were getting ready for the question they really wanted to ask you. They really wanted to ask everyone. Do you know that coup de grace question that adults love to ask children? Do you know what it is? It's, what do you want to be when you grow up? Yes, you knew it. And they say that to us. What do you want to be when you grow up? And so little audience participation, which I love that you already started. What did you say when you were in second or third grade when someone asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Who remembers? Yes, what was it? A teacher, absolutely, thanks. A veterinarian, yes. Batman, well, who didn't, right? Batman, Batgirl, yes. Any others that you remember? You might be thinking, yes, Steve. Astronaut, absolutely. And all of those are so true. And you might think teacher and lawyer and president of the United States. And you know what? There's a ton of them, right? And absolutely, because we were ambitious, weren't we? Yeah, we were. So imagine, though, if at that point when we were down here, we looked up with big, bright eyes, and we said to that adult, I want to be kind. Kind, so simple, so aspirational, and yet truly a life path we can achieve, right? Wouldn't you agree that when you get to make an act that impacts someone else, it is one of the purest and most rewarding aspects of joy in our life? Isn't that true? I tend to call those acts and those exchanges kindness. And I believe that I am on a path where I'm following kindness as the goal and that North Star for the way I live my life. Now, I believe that an act of kindness that is carried out to have somebody sign a contract, that's not kindness, that's business. And if there's an act of kindness that's carried out because somebody wants accolades and look at me, that's not kindness, that's showmanship. And I know in my heart of hearts, deep down in my soul, that an act of kindness that is carried out to positively impact someone else, whether they know you did it or not, is in fact kindness. And we can all practice kindness. We can all be that kind of person, the kind of leader worth following. As a matter of fact, we can do that through that 4-word acrostic, kind. K-I-N-D. And kind works like this, so we're going to dive in a second. K, know thyself. You heard a little bit of it already. Know thyself is the K. I, include others sincerely. N, nudge past nice. And D, do something bigger than yourself. So let's get started. The K, know thyself. You may or may not find it surprising to realize that one of the biggest challenges in kindness is truly being kind to us, ourselves. And so, I'll take you back on a journey. At the University of Michigan in undergrad, my roommate Michelle and I were, surprise, surprise, social directors. We also worked in the library, and one day at the close of my shift and at the beginning of hers, another housemate came in, Stephanie. She had a question on the social director side. And I quickly said, all right, Stephanie, go ask so-and-so for this, so-and-so for that, go check on this, and come back and I'll give you an answer. And she turned and she popped out of the room, and something in her eyes, something in how it felt, made me turn to Michelle and say, do people do things for me because they like me? Or do people do things for me because they don't want to make me mad? And quickly and emphatically, one of my very best friends at that time said, nobody wants to get on your bad side. Yikes, right? And at the age of 19, in that moment, in that library, I took one of the first acts of kindness for myself as an adult, and I decided to change. Not because I wanted people to believe it, because I wanted to feel it and have that experience. And as a fully recovered perfectionist, yes, you can overcome perfection, absolutely. As a fully recovered perfectionist, I promise you that I didn't lower my bar. I didn't lower a standard at all. I just raised my opportunity for joy. So we're complex people, aren't we? So this know thyself aspect, this K part of kind, it's complex too. So please think of this as a bit of a quadrant, a square. And we're going to have 4 parts to these 4 quadrants. So in it, first is a rest quadrant. Second is a nourish quadrant. Third is a movement quadrant. And fourth is mindset. So if you're taking those notes, we're coming back to it. So first, rest. Yes, you might think of that as sleep. And absolutely it is. Sleep is the way that we renourish. It's the way that we can repurpose, we can recover. And sleep is terrific for all of us because it lets us be at our best state physically and a lot of times mentally. But I'm really realistic and appreciate that not everybody can sleep soundly or for a very long time. So if you can't sleep, please nap. I don't know how it got out of our system from kindergarten and first grade, and now we're like, oh no, I can't take a nap. You can take a nap. And if you don't want to nap, rest. Rest your mind, rest your body, get away from the lights, the sounds, all of the noise, and allow yourself to be still. It can be for as long as you want. Allow yourself to do it because rest is best. So that next quadrant is nourish. And you're probably thinking food and drink, and we heard a little bit about that. And yes, because we know that old adage, you are what you eat. I like to say you are what you eat and drink. So definitely nourish your body with what serves you well, food and drink, not what's trendy or what somebody tells you is quote unquote healthy, but what works for you, what works for you. And beyond that, the nourish is what are you feeding your brain? What are you feeding your soul? How are you engaging in conversation and people and topics? Because if you're nourishing it in that positive way, you have the ability to grow. I happen to I have some really fun habits. I listen to a TED Talk each morning for a work day. They're short, they're energizing, and it's a really good way to nourish my mind and get that going. And also, I am very focused on learning and growth. I'm passionate about it. So I read, or the best way to say it for me is I have read to, because I like Audible, books. And for every 3 books I read that are on a topic that I like, that I'm part of, that I want to grow in, I choose a 4th that not only is different, often that goes against my beliefs or my values, against anything I've ever experienced, so that I can nourish the ability to continue to grow. It's an amazing way to nourish. So that next quadrant in this K, know thyself, is that of movement. So, yep, if you like yoga, if you like running, if you like taekwondo, definitely move your body. Get that going to assist us all in staying health-minded and health-focused. At the same time, how are you moving through your life? Do you go, oh, man, I gotta do this? Or do you say, this is a challenge I can overcome? How do you navigate when people are challenging or different? Are you saying to yourself, I'm gonna move through this to get to a place that I'm richer and stronger in the way that I behave? Because that movement also takes you on the path to now. And then that last quadrant over in that part is mindset. Mindset could be first or last because almost everything depends on it. When you think about your mindset, how do you approach someone? Do you think about what's going to be great today and this morning? Or do you think about what didn't go well? Are you in the mindset of, I can improve, I can grow, and I have value and I can contribute? Because that mindset aspect affects everything you do. It'll affect the way you drive, the way you work, the way you have fun. So with mindset, I give you a very simple example. And it's okay if you laugh a little bit about it. What I do is I call it grin and grat. Every morning when my alarm goes off, I smile. I push that grin to my face. And then by the time I hit the floor, my husband's still sleeping. You know he's here today, right? So I'm quiet, but I'm doing gratitude. And I'm thinking as each step, what am I grateful for? And by the time I get into the bathroom, I'm ready. I'm ready for that day. So that grit and gratitude, that grin and gratitude, say to yourself, do I hear the alarm and say, welcome the day? Or do I hear the alarm and say, oh no, not another day? Please choose the former over the latter. So as you see that know thyself has all of those aspects. And when you know yourself, you sleep, you rest, you nourish, you move, and you're mindful about it. You know, I used to call them years ago sleep, eat, sleep, eat, exercise, and attitude. And those were true. Over the years, though, I've realized they're so much broader and so much deeper. And so are each of you. So now that you considered know thyself, we can move to I, include others sincerely. Please know I don't mean you have to invite everybody to everything, because not only is that not probable, it's definitely not possible. And we're starting to feel as though that's what we mean. It's not. What I mean by this is these are small acts that have big impact. There can be lasting or fleeting, and yet they matter. This is looking someone in the eye and calling them by name. This is writing a personal note, being present, and seeing someone, really seeing what's happening and what may not be happening. And when we take that time to do that and include others sincerely, they know that we mean it. So when you invite somebody to do something, invite them because you want them there. And if you have a challenged person in your life, get to know them to get past it, not to learn how to push their buttons. Now, we all have a challenged person or two in our lives at work or at home, or both. And you know what? If you care enough about yourself and them, say to them, can we please start over? Can we please push the reset button? And then mean it. Don't look for them to make that mistake that they used to. Don't say always and never. Don't look for that problem. Move forward and do it with the idea that you know you've included them sincerely and they're including you. Recently, Hallmark started a kindness line, these little world changer line of cards. And my fellow kindness ambassador, who I met through Lee, Francesca Donlin, told me about it. So I sent an email to Hallmark, not with an ask, but to thank them for starting this and wanting kids to know that their kindness mattered. And you know what happened? Within a week, I had 3 huge boxes of these cards at my office. How cool is that? That their purpose is to give away 1 million cards so that little us can know that what they do matters. And it was so much fun to get those to a 2nd grade teacher and a 13-year-old philanthropist, because I know they will get those cards and that message to a child who will hear those words and know that they were included and that they matter. So now when you include someone sincerely, you can move to N, nudge past nice. Now you may have used the words nice and kind interchangeably in the past, and are you ready for it? It's about to change. Okay, so I am not on a mission to get rid of the word nice. I am on a campaign for kindness. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'll tell you what. Early in our marriage, Michael and I were at a Tampa Bay Buccaneers football game. And in came this couple, and they looked cute, and the guy looked a little nervous and a little excited, and he had on a Bucs jersey, and they sat right in front of us. And I thought, they're on a date. This is so cool. This is cute. It was fun. And so it looked like he was ready. And when we stood up to sing the national anthem, I noticed he had brand new jeans. I mean, he'd gone all out. So he sat down, and I leaned down, and I said in his ear, please know that I'm not hitting on you. Please know I'm saying this because I would want someone to tell me. You're going to want to remove that tag that's on the back of your right pant leg that says 32, 34 before you go up to the concessions. And I leaned back, and he nodded, and within about a minute, I saw him slyly remove that. And we smiled. We never spoke of it. Only when he left did he give me the second nod. Now, it might have been polite to ignore it. It might have been nice not to say it. But you know what? Polite and nice aren't comfortable for other people eventually. To be truly kind, you may be uncomfortable so that someone can sit in success. In this case, he was sitting in success in jeans that didn't have, a tag on them as long as my arm. So this nudge past nice means that we make that effort that takes a little bit more. So please think about, how are you nudging past nice? Because that's doing something, right? And that's doing something that's kind. So last one, D, do something bigger for yourself. You ready for some more audience participation? We're good with that? All right, even applause. I like it, Nikki. All right, so I have 3 questions for you, please. All right, number 1, have you ever seen a performer, a singer, a dancer, a musician, and you put a tip in the jar or the hat? Anybody do that? Yes, right? Number 2, have you ever donated to a charity or a GoFundMe? Yeah, feels good, right? All right, well, this is being recorded, so we can't dim the lights for this, but this one's a little tricky. You may want to close your eyes or hope that others close their eyes when you answer this. Have you ever in the history of your life ever regifted a present? Anybody? Yeah, and you're like, I see some of you like, yeah, of course, right? And I mean in that moment when you're like, this is really cool, this is very nice, and this is totally not my style, and I know the perfect person who's going to get it. And in your brain, you're already repackaging it and giving it to him. And then you do. And as you get ready to hand it to him, you're like, did I take all the tags off of it, right? And then they open it and they love it. How does that feel? It does. It feels great. Almost magical, right? Like, wow. Well, imagine if you could do that with your body. Now, I don't mean anything illicit or illegal or anything like that. I don't want you to think we're going down that path. There are so many things you can do that are bigger than yourself with your body. For instance, you could donate blood. You go on the registry for bone marrow. You could register to be a donor, an organ donor upon death. Or you could become a living donor, which is what I decided to do during COVID. I donated a kidney, my right kidney, as a matter of fact, to a woman in the community. I remember it was a Sunday in November, right after my birthday in 2019, and I read a post about this person who'd seen me speak, who I'd never said anything more than hello to, never had a conversation. And she said in the post that she had renal failure for 24 years. I admit to you, I didn't really understand the context of renal failure at that point. I just knew it was major. And I decided I would reach out to her to have our first ever sit down. I knew I would do something specific, offer to support her, check out what I could do, be there, schedule things, whatever it was. I knew it would be intentional and that it would be kind. And when we finally did have lunch, then I left and I was speaking the next day and I thought, I'm going to check my blood type. And I donated blood before, but I wasn't sure about what it was. So there I was on a plane on Amazon typing in blood type test. You've done it, right? We search these things. And lo and behold, for $9.99, you can find out your blood type. And after speaking in Dallas and Houston, I arrived home to find that fate-filled envelope at the door. Few pricks of my finger, I found out I was A positive. Here was the challenge. I didn't know her. I didn't have her number. How would I get her my blood type and find out if that was hers? But I did. Guess what? Hers was A positive too. You don't have to be the same blood type though, by the way. But we were. And what happened next was months of testing, psychological exams, physical exams, and all by myself because it was COVID. Not knowing what would happen, what the outcome would be. Except I tell you, I did. Deep in my gut, I felt it would work. It would happen. I was that match. And I asked her on that day, on August 6th, to arrive a half an hour early because the donor goes in first. And I said this, please know this is no longer my kidney. It'll always be yours. I'll never say it was mine. Apparently, I just got to house it for 5 decades. So thank you, and I wish you the best. And we're both doing well. And because of that with COVID, thank you. Because of that with COVID, keeping us not traveling, my husband Michael decided to do the same and donated his left kidney 6 months later. And he did that bigger than himself because he could. And would he have done it if other people hadn't done it first? No. Dr. Abigail Marsh talks about psychopaths and kidney donors, living kidney donors, in her book, The Fear Factor. And she talks about how we can grow into this. So I tell you, as human beings, as people, be the kind of person, the kind of human, the kind of leader you want to be. You will know thyself. You will include others sincerely. You will nudge past nice, and you will do something bigger than yourself. Because after all, that's what's now. So thank you. Please stay safe. Please stay well. And please stay kind.